How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So anytime something kind of happens in the mainstream news, and it has to do with comics, I get tons and tons of just my phone blowing up with text messages, Facebook Messenger, getting tons of messages from all my friends because I'm like the comic guy in my circle of friends. Most of my friends don't really know much about comics outside of like, oh, I watched, the Spider-Man movie or occasional movies here and there. Not really too into the actual comic side of things, so they don't really know everything that's going on, just whatever. But every once in a while, something comes out and it hits like the mainstream media that, most people know what's going on. And then my phone will blow up. And it's just kind of interesting. Oh, David, did you check it out? Check this out. Look at this. Oh, what do you think of this? Is this real? All this kind of stuff. And they have all their opinions on everything. So what am I talking about? So earlier today, this kind of happened. It says, New York Times, right here up at the top. It says, Superman comes out as DC ushers in a new Man of Steel. Like basically, and he's kissing a dude on there. And then Yahoo, DC comes out as bisexual, right? And all this stuff is talking about how Superman is now gay, right? Or bisexual or whatever it is. And just look at these headlines. So anyone that reads the headlines who doesn't care to read the article, like most people, right? I'm guilty of this too, right? Superman comes out like kissing a dude. Instantly, all my friends are like, Superman's gay now? What's going on? Like, I'm so confused. Like, what? And, what about Lois? Like, oh, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. But they don't realize that it's actually the son of Clark Kent and Lois. It's John Kent, which is named after his grandfather. And, now he's hooking up with this dude or whatever, right? And so I kind of have like an honest question for you guys, people who are watching, because this just happened not too long ago, a couple months ago with Robin. Coming out as, bisexual as well and dating a dude and all this kind of stuff. So this is kind of like my take, and I'll go through some data, and then I kind of want to, because I'm just curious, like, out there, like, I have a question. So first of all, what do I think of this? So it's not Superman, it's Superman's son, but it's John Kent. John Kent literally appeared 5-6 years ago, right here. So hasn't been around that long. All right, whatever. So if he comes out as bisexual, gay, whatever it is, it's like, that's fine because his character hasn't been established. The thing that kind of like makes me a little like I call it lazy writing is when you take an already established character that's been around for, decades, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to change their sexuality. And it's like, well, they dated women in the past or whatever it is. It's like, this is kind of like you're throwing away 30, 40, 50 years just for a headline. And I think that's, in my opinion, that's what this is coming out. Superman comes out, right? It's not, they didn't say Superman's son comes out. They didn't say John Kent comes out. No, they said so because all they care about, the New York Times, is for you to click on the article one time and then all their ads play everywhere, right? Look, there's an ad down here. Everywhere ads play and then instantly get their money. They don't care that, they're wrong, like this headline is not correct. So I don't really care. This character's new, and that's, to me, is fine. Come up with a new character. Yeah, it's basically Superman clone, light version, whatever you want to call it. It's not the real Superman. Whatever. I don't care. There's multiple universes, multiple things going on. It's just another character. Who knows if this character will even exist in 10 years to begin with. Most characters, by the way, don't, right? They exist, but they never get used. So this could be this flash in a pan type of thing. Whatever. Fine by me. I don't care that this kid came out as bisexual, whatever. But here's the thing. So if you remember, I did a video about this. Robin comes out, right? His trusty sidekick. This is actually, a different Robin. It was Tim Drake, but people think it's Dick Grayson. All they see is Robin, right? And they think it's the old school Robin, but Tim Drake is, I believe, from the 80s. Anyways, he came out in Batman Urban Legends 6, his coming out story. I don't know if they have any pictures down here. No, they don't. Anyways, whatever. He's going on a date with his friend that he fights crime with. Whatever. This is where I have my question, right? who is this for? What is the purpose? And it's an honest question. Is it like, I'm looking at all different factions. Is it just someone who wants, like a writer who wants to get well known, and so they come up with something crazy like this because they know that you can't come out with Clark Kent is coming out with as, gay, because he's married to Lois Lane and always dates Lois Lane. That'd be very odd, right? So you make up a new Superman, basically. His kid came out in 2015, so this is pretty new. And so he gets the mantle of Superman, right? And then you can say he came out, which makes sense. He's a teenage boy type of thing. That's when people kind of figure out their sexuality and things like that. So now they can run with it and get on the New York Times and everything else, because once one news outlet runs it, every news outlet has to run it. They have to, and they just basically copy and paste the same thing and just put it on their outlet. So is it some young, up-and-coming writer who wants to get more established, so then they write this, so then they get in the news, so then therefore their name is probably in here? I'm sure at some point, like their name, the writer's name, the artist's name, and then all that kind of stuff. Is that why they do it, to get known? Is it because DC Comics thinks they're going to sell more comics if they do shock value stuff, which is the society we live in? Is this everything shock value? And because think about this. The New York Times, Yahoo News, all that stuff wouldn't ever run a story on comics, like comic books, not maybe comic book movies, but comic books, unless something was outrageous, right? Captain America became a Nazi, joined Hydra. That wasn't, in the news. Robin comes out, Superman comes out. That seems like to be the easiest way to do it. Is just like, I'm going to write this character is gay. Boom. Oh my God. So that's what it's like. In order to get on there, you have to do something outlandish like that. But eventually they're going to run out of characters to have come out, right? So they'll start off with the clone versions, the light versions, right? Just like, let's try. And then one day, Bruce Wayne will have, like the actual Batman will come out, because they'll be running out. You can only do side characters so many times until people are like, I don't really care. It doesn't get picked up by the New York Times anymore. So you have to be more and more outlandish. So eventually, the way I see is every character will eventually become like, not every character, but for shock value, one of the characters here and there will come out as gay or bi, and then they'll be like, okay, then what? Then where's an end? Then another writer will have to do something more outlandish. It's like, whatever it is. I mean, I don't want to say, because then I'll get, too much hate. But I'm just curious, who is this for? Is it for like, oh my gosh, we have this massive bi or gay community that really wants representation, and which I never understand that. Like, help me here. I don't understand it. I don't understand this lack of representation. I watched Black Panther. Loved it. Never once thought like, man, I wish Black Panther was white. I watched Blade. Loved all three of them. Yes, all three of them. Never once thought to myself, man, I wish, Blade was a white guy, because I can't relate. Spawn, he's black. Never once did I watch Spawn and be like, oh my God, I can't relate, right? And I'll watch movies. Aliens has a woman. Never once am I like, man, they really need to make an Aliens, but have a man as the hero, right? No, Sigourney Weaver was great. Watch the whole thing. One of my favorite video games is Metroid. That's a girl. That's Samus. It's a girl. So like I never like, maybe that's just me. Maybe obviously everyone thinks differently, but maybe that's me. I never really once think that or feel that way. I watch Pose. I believe that's what it's called. I don't know. I think it just ended. It's literally a TV show about, me and my girlfriend watch it. It's about gay and transsexuals in like, I guess the 80s, 90s era. And they put on these like these, they call them the balls. They're basically like big, everyone gets dressed up and they do a little catwalk and stuff like that. But I believe, if I can remember correctly, I believe it is written by Darren Star, who wrote Sex and the City, which, shock here, I actually like Sex and the City. One of the few collections I had of DVDs was Sex and the City. I liked, Seinfeld's my all-time favorite, but Sex and the City is probably top 5. I like the show. Don't know why, but it's all about women. I never once thought like, oh, I need some representation with some men in there. But yeah, Pose, me and my girlfriend like that. I mean, I thought it was well written. I like the characters. Doesn't matter if they're female, gay, black, whatever, who cares? As long as they're well written and has interesting stories, that's all I care about. So that's all I'm wondering about this. Like, who is this for? It can't, like, I hate it when they say it needs representation. And then, like, people say, well, it's for sales. All right, remember when Robin came out? Batman Urban Legends 6. Here's the actual sales numbers of those books. Here's Batman Urban Legends number 1, right here. It is ranked 26th for that month. This was March of 2021. It was ranked 11th for dollar value, because if you look here, this is an $8 book. There's a lot of books are $3 to $4, maybe $5. So it's a more expensive book. So that's why less units were sold. How many units? This is probably, if I had to guess, units sold probably in like the $55,000, $60,000 range of these books sold. All right, let's move on to April. All right, here's number 2, Urban Legends 2. All right, same $8, 11th for price and 39th for units sold. So if you see, stayed the same with price, but units sold went a little down. So that means maybe other books didn't sell as well. So I would imagine units sold, it's probably in the 50,000. All right, here we go. Urban Legends 3. Moving on up, now we're into May. Moves down to the 15th spot. Was at 11 before and was at like 44. So it keeps moving down. So that, now you're probably selling less and selling less. Here's June, number 4. Here we go. We got some actual sales data. 39,000 units sold. Moves down again to 71st in units sold, so really jumping down. And dollar-wise, 23 again because it's a more expensive book. So if you look at number 1, you're looking at place number 26 and 11th for dollars. And if you look at the 4th one, it's went from 26th to 71st and went from 11th to 23rd in dollars. So moving on down. So now it's at like 39,000. All right, here we go. Number 5, bumped up a little bit, moved to the 12th spot and 55th. And it sold 44,000 units. So this is number 5. Then where Robin is now by. Number 6, 43. Moved up to the 11th spot in money-wise, 47th in units sold, but 43,000. Before that, it was 44, so more. Before that, it looked like it dropped a little bit to 39,000. This one was probably around the 40 mark as well. But then, you got 1 and 2 that were probably in the 50, 60,000 mark. So, like, it comes out, it happens, all this media attention, right? Here it is on Esquire talking about it. It's probably all over a bunch of other places too, probably in, like, TV news as well, like on CNN or something. It didn't do a thing. Not a single thing dollar-wise. Didn't change it. Like 44,000, 43,000. And it's not like it was starting out low, slowly building, and then it's just like, oh, wow, 43, it's like the peak. No. Like, clearly number 1 and number 2 outsold it. 3 and 4, a little less, but then 5 outsold it, outsold 6. So it's like, you tell me your guys' perspective. I only know my perspective. So you tell me, sorry, this is becoming like a rant video again all this time, but I personally don't care that John Kent, this Superman, came out. Doesn't bother me, whatever. It's their choice as a writer. Maybe they can make some interesting stories because of it. I don't care. I don't read this comic anyways, so it makes no difference to me. But you, as someone that does read it, do you enjoy this? Do you hate this? Like, what do you think of it? Also, why do you think they do this kind of stuff? Is it just to get in the New York Times and maybe overall it doesn't, because it doesn't bring in more sales? Is it just because a writer gets on there and they're like, oh, I want to do something different, make a name for myself, Is that it? Like, I'm just, like, it doesn't bother me. right? But there's has to be a reason. Like, this isn't just, what I'm getting at, this isn't just like a writer comes on and is like, oh, I'm coming up with this new character and I'm going to make him gay and I'm going to do this. Like, they do this on purpose, but I'm trying to find what the reasoning is, right? Because they want to get these headlines. But I'm trying to think, like, what is the reason to get these headlines? Because it doesn't make you sell more comics. So this is where I'm confused. And it's like, I guarantee you someone is like, hey, I wanted to turn Superman gay. How can I do that? They're like, well, look, you can't turn Clark Kent gay. What else do we have? Well, we have these other sub-Supermans, like his kid or something like that. Okay, let's do that. Because it wasn't like episode or issue number 2, Converted to Superman, when he first appeared, and then maybe like within like 6 months, all of a sudden you see him dating a guy, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, this character's been around for 6 years. It was like, hey, let's write someone as bi or gay. We want someone huge, right? So we can get these headlines. Let's do Superman. We can't do Clark Kent. So let's do John Kent. He's a character that's around. So, yeah, that's why. Because I remember watching this documentary about the death of Superman, and they would get around this round table every year, and they go, okay, what is the overarching story we want to do with Superman, right? And Superman's probably in, action comics, adventure comics, Superman, Man of Steel, all this stuff. He's in tons of comics. They're like, what's this overall thing? And every year this guy said he would propose, hey, let's kill him. Let's kill him. And every year they're like, no, 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 no. And with the editors and everything. And then one day he proposed it, and they're like, how would we do that? And they're like, well, how would we kill him? Are we going to kill him with kryptonite? And like, well, we tried that before. And then they came up with the concept of Doomsday. And then they're like, well, how about we have this big villain? Like, instead of having someone that's smart, like brains versus brawn, why don't we do brawn versus brawn? Why don't we actually have someone that's stronger than Superman and kill him? And they're like, that's interesting. So they came up with Doomsday. And they're like, well, how are we going to introduce him? What's his backstory? So when they come up with this stuff, it isn't just like someone sitting down at a typewriter and going like, what should I type today? Right? It's like they have a big plan, a big overall plan. Maybe it's years in advance. Who knows? Maybe when they wrote this character, John Kent, they always knew that, eventually we're going to turn him gay. Maybe it's in 3 years. Maybe it's in 6 years. Maybe it's in 20 years. Maybe it never happens. Maybe like when they wrote that's how they wrote the character. Like this was the plan for him all along. So yeah, I don't know. These are just questions I have. Maybe you guys can help me out. Anyways, have a good day.